Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how to make elevation contours in QGIS. So a lot of you know that an elevation contour line is a line that follows a constant elevation across the landscape. So if you were to walk across this line, you'd be constantly at an elevation of 200 meters. You'd go out along this ridge and then you'd come back along the other side. So if you know how to read contours, you can interpret the shape and amplitude of topography. So if you need more information about contour lines, I recommend this great video. And if you need more information about digital elevation models upon which or from which the contours are rendered, please see this video. So getting right to it, we've got a QGIS project going of Mount Shasta in Northern California. So far we've merged them, we've clipped them, we've projected them, and we've made a hillshade. So here is Mount Shasta. So the next thing we want to do is lay some contours across this. And of course these contours are going to be computed directly from the digital elevation values. So the algorithm's going to consider the elevation of each pixel, and it's going to route the contour as close as possible to these pixels of constant elevation. So the tool we'll use is just contour. And of course our input layer will be make sure it's the DEM and not the hillshade, of course. Band 1. Our elevation is in meters, and Mount Shasta is a good sized mountain. It's 4,300 meters tall. So we want to leave a lot of distance between our contours. Why don't we try 40 meters? If we did 10, we'd end up with something like 400 contours, and it would probably be too crowded. So something like a contour interval of 40 meters will give us something like 100 contour lines total, which should be manageable. We can leave the field name as elevation, offset from 0 as 0. We want these contours to be flagged with their true elevation, not any kind of offset. And we will save them as a permanent file, not temporary. So I'm going to use the file name Shasta Contour 40 meter QGIS. Notice here we have a .shp extension. So this is going to be a vector shape file, right? Because these are going to be contour lines. So this is not going to be a raster. These are going to come out as a bunch of lines in a vector file. So we'll hit save, we'll run it, and hope for the best. Okay, so it ran, and there they are. Wow, they're in yellow. Who would have expected yellow contour lines? Let's make those black. So we'll go to simple line, black. I also usually tend to make them as thin as possible if they're a little crowded, so we'll make the width 0.1, hit OK. And let's zoom in a bit and see how they look. Hey, they look pretty good. You can see that they bend outwards as you go out along ridge lines, right? And they bend inward like this, pointing upstream as they go through river valleys. So great, these contours look pretty good. They're going to be helpful for our interpretation. If you want to know what the elevation of the contour is, we can use our information tool. Make sure you've got the contour layer highlighted. Click on them, and maybe did I double click there? Not sure what happened. So there's one, and its ID, that the feature ID is 1009. But the elevation is 3680 meters, okay? Likewise, if you want to label them, you can go over and right-click Properties, Label, and Single Label, and label them with the field elevation. And we're going to make the labels pretty small here. And there's lots of other, you may want to use buffers, or usually there's too many labels when you do this. Actually, that's not too bad. But it doesn't look perfect. But anyway, it can give you a sense of which contour is which, and you can experiment more with labeling to get that as acceptable as possible. Happy trails, happy contours.